on Tuesday, March the 10th, 2026. Tim OZman, hello.
Hey, how are you doing? Is my audio okay?
Yeah, it's good enough. A little tinny, but it's good. I can hear you. I'm not going to be too picky. I know you're mobile and all that.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm adding my channels right now as we speak. And
Okay.
recently I've started streaming on Kick as well as YouTube and Twitter. And I'm going to
Okay.
continue to expand to other channels as well. But so you'll probably see that. And I'm probably going to reach out to DLive and see if anybody's still there.
Yeah, I'm on DLive, and DLive still works, as far as I could tell.
Okay, good.
And sorry about the link. What happened was I left my transfer scripts running, and it overwrote the links with the old links that I had fixed earlier. So I didn't realize that till the next day. So
Oh, I see. Well,
I
yeah,
appreciate you.
troubleshooting is just a big part of what we do anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm like you. I'm always on the move, and I moved to a Black Friday web space special, and I just got around to moving it now. And something you do it once a year, you kind of forget how to do it.
Right. Well, that's good. I'm still using Substack quite a bit, and I find it to be a very decent platform for keeping everybody on the same sheet. But at some point, I may need to get a separate website again.
Well, I think even though nobody goes to websites anymore, which is the downside, I still think owning your data is important. But
That's what I'm saying. Is that yeah, it's not such a priority now because of the way people get their information, but I do need a place to put the database that we're building, the breakdown of fake news over the decades that we've been working on. It needs a home, a place where people can
go. Yeah.
source it. And so I'm going to probably set up either a separate site at autohoax.com or build something separate, but it's going to need to happen.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing all your paired chats, so you got paired correctly, but for some reason it doesn't show that it's paired on my normal area. So I think they changed their interface for the worse at Restream, but I do see the paired comments, and I see Reality Witness just shot you $4.99.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Reality Witness pitched in. I got a lapel mic, a lavalier, and then I also
Okay.
have a new phone. So when I'm mobile out in my truck anywhere, I have a separate phone to take calls, Discord, Restream, or even StreamYard. So in other words, I'm going to be doing open phones from now on pretty much any stream.
And is the lavalier working? Did you get that
Yes.
going?
Yes. In fact, I've been releasing a series of whiteboards where I'm breaking down the concepts that we discuss regularly using infographics. In fact, after this, I'm recording a video on the predictive and concurrent programming connected to the Charlie Kirk event. And I'm doing these whiteboards as a series, and at some point I'll put it into a single video. But the lapel mic was pretty much necessary for this to work.
Okay, that's good. But is it on now or something else?
I got a couple of them on YouTube right now, but I'm on number 3 right now. So I'm calling it the video series is How History is Manufactured. And the basic premise is that our history is being proactively manufactured, and it's created through the use of PSYOPs, simulated events. And I'm starting off with that point, and I'm attempting to make the point clear by demonstrating concurrent and predictive programming as indicators that a fake historical event is emerging. So I've stopped calling these things hoaxes because it's minimizing it. I'm calling these things historic events because that's what they end up being.
Even though they're fake.
Exactly. Simulated historic events. And these are the things that dominate the news cycles. And if you look back, and I'm just sourcing stuff from 1963 to the present, you see that this has actually been a pattern, and it's built into what media is. And these are the stories that are specifically designed to split public opinion down the middle, creating that dialectic every single time. And they've been doing this so long that they've essentially guided us into a consensus paradigm that's mostly fabricated, a hyper reality.
Okay, let me look at one. Here we go. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, those are the whiteboards, exactly.
Oh, see. Okay, let's see this. Watch this one. Let's watch a bit.
Okay, for this first part, how history is faked or manufactured, I want to...
Oh yeah, it's a good. Yeah, the mic is good. Okay, that's the Digi mic.
Yep, that's the one. And I tried to record these before without the lavalier, and the audio just didn't cut it.
Let me hear. That's pretty good.
explain the way I see media consumption and the points of view that people have that determine how they process what they're getting through the screen. So, first of all, there are two primary modes of consuming media, active and passive. Active refers to the skeptical approach, where one is not automatically believing what they're seeing, but are instead evaluating it based upon the available facts. Now, when mainstream news consumers are looking at conspiracy theories, they're generally not skeptical. And by skeptical, it means that you get more information about it and then you make your judgment. They're actually prejudiced against it. So they're actually credulous.
Wow, that's pretty good. I'll put a link to that in today's show notes. I'll watch that. That's a good one.
Thanks. And these are a daily thing. And I have a whole series planned, and these infographics are things I've been working on for several months, because I think to explain what we're actually living through, which you could describe as like an invisible cage, you need to have some way of framing it, describing its architecture and how people are compartmentalized. And so the world stage is a model that I'm describing, and then I'm describing how it's a fusion of real and fake. And this puts all the fakery that we notice into context.
That's very good. LGO Dego says, have a great evening, Tim. Everyone cheers. Watching the rookie again. It's wacky, Tim. Wacky. Who's the rookie? Who's he talking about?
I don't know. His comments are stream of consciousness, very interesting.
And Let's Go said the mic sounds great. Yeah, it's a good mic. It's good to have a lavalier mic. And Diana Southard is in the chat. And Dorian. Yeah, we just started, Dorian. You didn't miss too much. Portal Complex Studio likes whiteboards. Are great shorts as well. Oh, did you create them into shorts as well?
I haven't, but I think they're clippable. And I may do that. But once I've got the first dozen of these done, I'll compress them into a single video, and I'll add supplementary material to, for example, if I'm describing predictive programming, I can insert those shots. So these will be polished videos, but I thought let me get these rough drafts out and get some feedback on them.
Okay. All right. Any topics in particular tonight, or do you want to go to your X and go through that? Are you keeping that?
On the X, actually, something came up today that's interesting. Jeff Berwick found this book written by a Leslie Epstein about a dictator named Trumpelstein.
Oh, someone must have just made that one up, no?
Well, I thought so too. I have the audiobook now. I'm listening to it. And it sounds like a parody of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, but it's from 1979.
Okay, so let's see here. That seems hard to believe, but okay. Let's look. IPS here, and here we go.
I also put a link to it on my Tim OZman Substack. But basically, Trumpelman creates an authoritarian regime, and he decides which residents will be deported. So he's a con man, a charismatic leader, a dictator who's deporting people. And it's written by an Epstein. So again, it's just bizarre. And people are saying this is strange. I don't know if they know what to make of it, but I've looked into this a little bit today. And I think it's another indicator that we're looking at world stage characters, composites.
Okay, hold on a sec. This seems like just recently manufactured crap that they're trying to insert into the past. That's
You
very
know,
Mandela-like, isn't it?
well, we've seen that before with the Charlie Kirk event, where the day after somebody had a backdated book published about him being killed, and that fooled a lot of people, except for those of us who work with Kindle publishing. But no, this book not only exists, but it has many Amazon reviews going back years, and I actually have an audiobook of it I was listening to today.
Let me watch a bit of this. Let's see.
This is really weird. 2 days ago, a TikTok user named Dustin Goodroad made this video about this physical book that he had found called King of the Jews, a novel of the Holocaust by Leslie Epstein. The original TikToker is pointing at the striking coincidence that a book named King of the Jews was written by Epstein about a protagonist named I.C. Trumpelman. This book, set during the Holocaust, is about a con man who pretends to be a doctor, leaves the ghetto, and then returns to lead it. This is Leslie Epstein, the author of that book. He was summa cum laude at Yale and a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford. From 1978, he taught a graduate creative writing class at Boston University. Some of his
I like
students...
how this video is 9 minutes and 11 seconds.
Oh, you noticed that? Yeah. Good catch.
How could you not? I'll put that in the show notes too. That's some very that's definitely right up the IPS alley, I would say. What do you call that? Foreshadowing?
Yeah, well, she goes into it and looks at the author and his background, and apparently he's connected to Casablanca, which has this theme of undercover agents meeting in this place. So she makes these interesting connections in that video. But what I think she kind of extrapolates from it here is that there's some kind of connection with these writers and what we're experiencing on the world stage. At least that's what I'm kind of looking at here. That we talk about movie directors all the time who create work that directly relates to incoming psyops. Well, there's plenty of authors that meet the same role, like Stephen King, for example, whose works are indeed part of the fake history construction.
Okay, I asked the bot, or what are the connections? And it says no evidence shows any deliberate connection between Epstein's 1979 character names and today's real world figures. The parallels people are pointing to appear to be coincidences noticed after the fact. In interviews and coverage, Epstein and critics described Trumpelman, later named Gotterman on stage, as modeled on the historical Nazi approach Jewish leader Chaim Rumkowski, not any future American political figures. Online posts and videos that link the name Trumpman, Epstein's surname, Jeffrey Epstein, and Donald Trump are speculative and rely on pattern matching rather than documented intent or archival evidence. Mainstream reviews and literary discussions of King of the Jews over the past decade treat it as a Holocaust fable of power and collaboration without tying its names to modern U.S. news personalities. There you go. Pattern recognition.
I'm not sure if you can hear me okay. For some reason, it kind of roboted out on your voice just now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you good.
Are we clear now?
Yeah, everything is clear. So did you hear what I said, or is it all robot-y?
Okay, I'm going to step out and step in. I think, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely hearing some robot.
Okay, come on out. You want to go out and come back in?
Okay, there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go. I'm back in. I can hear you again.
Okay. Well, what did you think of the bot's explanation of what we just of that book?
I couldn't quite understand what was just said, but anyway, I'm listening to the audiobook myself. And what it sounds like, kind of like with the 1958 trackdown, it sounds like the persona of Trump is a complete invention. Like you'd call him a heel if this is WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was. I think he was, but maybe they build these different characters and they're not sure which ones they'll use in the end. Were there any other characters built up to be president, or was it just Trump?
That's a very good question. And it's a valid question. You know, like the major players on the world stage tend to have entertainment counterparts. And one of the things I've been doing is looking at the common denominators between their entertainment counterparts. And this proves it's not a coincidence, because every predictive programming example of Donald Trump is associated with either an assassination attempt, 9/11, or both. There's always this overlapping, but it tends to connect them to 9/11. And this goes back to the Future, Gremlins 2, this Super Mario Brothers, where he's King Koopa based on Trump. And it's a reoccurring theme. And the more recent movies from the last like 20 years have been the Trump character getting targeted for an assassination and surviving it. Like, you know, Megalopolis, The Homelander in The Boys, Mickey 17, then 2010 Machete. And I have a list. But what I'm finding here is that there are common denominators where they're inserting this repeated character into different contexts. And it goes pretty deep, because in the movies that have predictive programming for a Trump, there's always an antagonist played by the same actor, who's the guy from Breaking Bad, the Chicken Man. And I noticed this pattern, and I'm thinking, okay, this is an example of a character on the world stage who pre-existed in the mind of the public, so they were already conditioned to accept him in a certain way.
Yeah, okay, now I'm looking at your Jeff Berwick post here. So he found the book. Okay, so he watched the TikTok. Okay, I gotcha. And you are you're refuting that, basically his thesis.
Well, you know, I don't know if he's leaning into, because he says controlled reality. If he thinks it means we're in a simulation, then he's way off.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that we have fake events, and they have to have actors or characters to participate in these events. You know, like you have actors in these roles for these movies. So we're looking at essentially like reality TV or movies superimposed over the news. And it seems like these major characters have been built into our worldview in advance. G Real says the term is revelation of the method. And I want to point out that's not true. There's no such thing. So what we're looking at here is there's been a disinformation campaign for decades to hide what I'm talking about, to hide prefabricated history. This is what I call a metascript. And the way they hide it is they say, this was not done by man. This was done by A, the simulation, or B, Luciferian wizards revealing the method, which is garbage. And those two explanations mystify what is actually evidence of government control over culture, over the film industries, over publication.
Well, yeah, but government doesn't really exist in the sense that there's no Department of Media Control. There's no building you can go to that does that. So can we be more specific?
Yes. Yeah. When I say government, big G, referring to it on a global scale.
Yeah.
But we have these lowercase g's. But how are these things executed? Well,
Yeah.
you can go psyop by psyop. So in order to have, let's say, a fake shooting, you would necessarily have involvement of the police,
Yes.
the people in the fire departments, ambulances. Then you got to deal with politicians, the DHS.
Yeah, DHS for sure.
The media itself. So what I'm suggesting here is that there are people at a certain strata who have a certain security clearance level who participate on these things. And these things are carried out by a number of interlocking organizations. And it works in concert to pull these off. And so I would suggest that when I say government, we're talking about an expanded view of government where entertainment is actually a subset of government. That bread and circuses isn't just like a metaphor, it's literally true. They're using theater as government to introduce mind war as a replacement for brute force.
Right. And there's I'm with you on the Department of Homeland Security, but that's a huge complex they created that is made up of about 10 different formerly fairly independent departments, but there's got to be an intelligence aspect that collates and gives out money to think tanks and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I run into people who say, "Oh, this predictive programming is a coincidence." You can't say that with concurrent programming, nor can you ignore the fact that many of these staged fake events have drills attached
Yeah.
to them, and who's doing the drills. So you have to notice that this is a convergence of government and entertainment through the media for the purposes of manufacturing our worldview day by day.
Oh yeah. Culture creation.
Yep. And what they do, what I think is genius about it, is that they give you a perspective so that no matter how diverse your opinions are, as long as you're choosing the options that they provide, you never leave their box.
Yeah. Isn't that sort of, well, that might be something like the Delphi technique, but maybe not. Just where they give, yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. Because what I'm noticing here that's built into this is triangulation. So the reason that we have the left and the right so polarized, and why they always have this response to every event in the same way, where the right thinks one thing caused it, the left thinks the other. Why is it always split down the middle and bifurcated? Well, that's because they are triangulated by the media. That's a manipulation tactic that you can use in groups and in small settings like families, where one person in the triangulation is always right, the other person is always wrong. So you got the favored one and the scapegoat. So the conspiracy theorists are the scapegoat, and the mainstream Normieville people are the favored ones that the media favors over the other ones. And so this creates a power imbalance where conspiracy theorists are always having to fight against the other side, who have the assumed high ground on everything.
Mm-hmm. I just looked up the Delphi technique because I've looked it up many times over the years, and I usually get it wrong. So I think I got it wrong again. But it says here it's the structured way to gather and refine expert opinions through several rounds of anonymous questionnaires to reach a reasoned forecast or consensus on a complex issue. I didn't know it was anonymous, but I thought it was a way for them to steer a question into the answer they wanted. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well, that's the thing. If they're trying to create a group think,
yeah,
that, I mean, that would explain, that would definitely relate, because you have all these diverse opinions, but ultimately you're either with the faction on the left or the faction of the right, no matter how nuanced your opinion is, because these are compartments, and your micro opinions, your nuance, are in subsets of the big compartment that you're in. So that's what I mean. It's like the free thinkers actually get caught up in a trap where they're going deeper into the program.
okay, yeah, I agree. Let's go back to X. Yeah, I had the Delphi technique. I put a link to it here
Now,
that I have on Perplexed. I put it in the blog. So we'll go back to X if you want.
one of my tweets, retweets, is by a guy named Mickelson, and he's calling out. He says the "everything is a conspiracy" crowd is no different from the "everything CNN tells us is true" crowd. And this is a very great insight. I've written about this at length. I've described it as being an auto disbeliever in the mainstream. That's the guy, is
Yeah.
just as bad as being an auto believer. So if you're automatically disbelieving and automatically believing, you're prejudiced, you're not skeptical. And so I'm nice. This is nice to see, because the alt media for a long time has been the de facto home base for all free thinkers who don't trust mainstream. And this guy's calling it out, that they're just alt CNN. And there's also the element of, when you get into any sort of alternative media conspiracy demographic, now you're a target market group,
Yeah.
and you're hit with very specific propaganda that is basically designed to lock you in with this alternative herd, which they 100% have penned up.
Let's see who this guy is. Okay, so this guy talks about all the conspiracies as well. So he's talking about what's his name? Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Now, I get the Jim Carrey thing. I understand what people are saying, but we have to at least clarify, is this a reasonable proposition? Is it conspiratainment? Can we back it up? Like, what's the validity of the claim. So I'm just trying to fine tune it, because anybody saying clone has now added a secondary conspiracy that's a necessary prerequisite for him to have been, replaced in such a manner. And if you can't prove that you can clone a 64-year-old man, then you don't have a case. And then the people who say, oh, it's a guy in a mask, they don't explain why the mask doesn't match the original person. Like the technology is there to create hyper realistic masks. Why did they bomb on this one?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is interesting. Maybe I'll follow this guy. Did you follow this guy to find him, or did you just find the post?
I found him at random and I found the post. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to highlight anytime people start veering toward the off-world stage, because there's no middle ground. The way it's compartmentalized, you're either left or right, like it or not. It's bifurcated. The only option for those who see through alternative media now is to go off to the off-world stage, this new third perspective that we pretty much represent here. So if I see anybody spontaneously becoming auto hoax woke, I retweet them.
Yeah. Well, is an auto hoaxer the same as someone who just believes in the alternative, or no?
No, there's a fundamental difference, because the people who believe in alternative believe a separate source. And what I'm positing here is that we have to abandon beliefs that we can't demonstrate to be true and replace it with instead informed non-belief. So there's an operating system that's very different. One is believing alternative sources, and the other is being as skeptical of the alternative as we are of the mainstream.
Okay, that's good.
And the reason why is that the alternative media has been either completely subverted by the same programmers that run all the psyops, or it was created by them. And I think it was created by them. I think the conspiracy theories that blew up around the Kennedy assassination, I think a lot of those were intentionally inserted so that the public could be split in two. And this division is, to me, intrinsic to how the world state actually operates.
Okay, let's get back to your Twitter feed here. So this is that's an interesting one. What else we got here? What's this guy saying? Let's see. All these TikTokers are doing videos where they watch other videos. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I won't watch them if they wag their fingers. This guy's flipping out because he thinks Pink Floyd The Wall is about ripping the faces off of children and eating their adrenochrome.
Oh, brother. Okay. That's pretty bizarre. Okay, well, I'll pass on that.
Yeah, but you see how mainstream the QAnon stuff has become? It's really somewhat alarming, but it shows you that people don't have filters. This is why I say that we have to have a separate position as media skeptics, because conspiracy theorists aren't media skeptics. They just believe a separate storyline, and a lot of it's darker than what the mainstreamers believe.
Yeah, that's true. Alex Jones, etc. Okay. What do we got here? This is the latest staged event. ISIS supporting NYC bomb thrower owns a $2.5 million mansion. Or his parents?
Yes. So I'm looking at this guy, and it's like, this guy is likely going to be viewed as some kind of an anti-hero. And then we find out he's got this multi-million-dollar mansion. And it reminds me,
Yeah.
Luigi Mangione was well off. He had money. There was no reason for him to do that, except it's about how to fight in this class struggle, you have to sacrifice your privilege and go to the street level, like Renee Good did. And this was the overall message of the protests against ICE. It was the message in Wicked. It's ultimately, the messaging here is being conveyed that it's like morally righteous to give up your position, your wealth, and then fight for the whatever it is, the oppressed group. So I think this is a manufactured anti-hero. And I think, like Sarnoff the Boston bomber, I think like him and like Luigi, he's probably going to be looked at as some kind of a hero. He might even get groupies.
But do you believe this story that his parents are rich, just first generation from Afghanistan, or maybe recent, and or are they just lending their good name? Maybe they're government contractors, and this is
That
part of the deal.
Yeah, I would expect that this whole thing is just an operation, and it's all about creating the perception, of this particular type of threat. I don't think this is real at all. I find it very peculiar anyway that an ISIS supporter would bomb the mayor's mansion, because the story when the mayor was elected, according to everyone in New York, was that he was Osama bin Laden, and that they just are waiting for the next 9/11. So it's kind of an odd choice that an ISIS supporter would go after that guy's house.
Yeah, and then be found out right away.
And the photography. One of the hoax indicators here is that it's like a magazine shoot. Like,
Mhm.
I'm supposed to believe that this is a terror attack, but we got these dramatic angles, super high definition. The cameraman's just perfectly poised. The lighting is fantastic. It looks like a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, looks like another Osama bin Laden, where they just take the family name and create an entity that's creating havoc when in fact it's the calls coming from inside the house. These are insiders that are just they use the names, they lend their names. They're real people, but they lend their names, I guess.
Yeah, well, these stories generate attention, revenue, they advance agendas. Like the guy who marches out onto 6th Street or whatever in Austin
Yeah.
wearing a shirt, he's like, I'm a terrorist. It's like
Yeah.
property of Allah. That's one of
Yeah.
the most obvious indicators of a hoax I've seen in a long time.
Well, it's just for the masses to not have to put two and two together because it's just all spelled out right front on the t-shirt.
Oh,
This
and
is
then
a
you
terror.
mentioned the house thing. Okay, so one of the other things that's come up is, the whole ICE thing.
Yeah.
And the idea of the immigrant, it's about triggering scarcity. It's like
Mhm.
immigrants are taking all the jobs, immigrants taking the resources. So in this case, you have the shooter, and they said, look, it's an immigrant shooter in Austin. And now
Yeah.
they're going to say, as Ali Bongo Magic points out here, it'll stoke up Muslim immigrant versus white American. How do these immigrants buy such expensive houses when I can barely afford a condo? So this is typical leading up to a midterm election, kind of like the Haitians are cannibals and they're eating cats and dogs. Like, they throw this stuff out there as we get near midterms because the border security is such a big issue. So this is a right wing psyop. Like, this benefits the right.
Well, yeah, and immigrants are always an easy scapegoat because the people that are being displaced or being impinged upon naturally don't like them anyway. So it's easy for them to believe that they're the enemy because they're bothering them on an individual level. So I can
Well,
see.
notice how the right is given propaganda to make them fear the immigrants or resent them, and the left is given propaganda to sympathize with the immigrants. And what I'm pointing out is that this way that they address the alien is the same, whether you're talking about terrestrial aliens, immigrants, or extraterrestrials, because the right wing has been saturated with propaganda telling them that aliens are demons and to be feared, whereas the left is more progressive, scientific, and they see aliens as these angels. So you can see that this relates to, I think, the relationship between the other, and the left and the right have antagonistic relationships with the third party. It's another triangulation built into the psyop.
Okay. Next, William Cooper, one of my favorites back in the day.
Yeah, that's one of his lectures about how Space Odyssey brings back archetypes of Mystery Babylon. And I've been talking about this for some time, that science fiction is Mystery Babylon dressed up with science, essentially syncretism, where they blend religions. And this was, I think, pretty much highlighted by the Babylon working, where you had the Scientologist science fiction writer hanging out with an OTO warlock
Yeah.
doing rituals to summon the Antichrist with some movie star. You see that and you're like, okay, that's the fusion. Ancient Mystery Babylon science fiction, and movies. And the movie thing, if you listen to any of the thinkers on, within like the satanic movements, the 60s, specifically like Kenneth Anger, who wrote about this stuff, Hollywood Babylon was one of his books. He said that Hollywood was going to be used to present the pageantry of the new religion.
Yeah. I just noticed that you weren't able to hear the sound. That's why you were talking, because the sound wasn't going through. Okay. I wonder why. Another gremlin for the night, but I'll bring that back up, just see if the sound, because I was trying to play it, but then I noticed the sound isn't going through. So I apologize to everyone. I don't know.
No, play a clip.
I'll try. It was, I don't know why everyone wants to stop working. Okay. Let's try this again. Let's see what is going on here. IPS.
William Cooper stands out. He's like the only popular conspiracy theorist that really called out NASA as being space fakers.
Mystery Babylon. Yeah. Let's see if that plays.
To take that video out and put in.
I guess, can you hear that?
Yeah, you got it now.
I'm going to show you how they communicate all the time, and it goes right over our heads. We don't understand it. We don't know it. We miss it. How many of you saw the movie 2001? How many of you understood what you saw? You understood it? What? Give me the message. Pardon?
Basically, where they talked about the sun, where it started to rise.
Yeah.
Man is evolved from ape.
Okay. Good.
Rebirth.
You got it. But the rebirth was what? As a new race in the new age. And the message was, if you can't make this quantum leap.
I always liked Bill, even though he might have been controlled. He said he was ONI, ex-CIA, ONI, whatever. But I like the information, and he woke up more people with his cassette tapes. Do you know he sent out hundreds of thousands of cassettes randomly, and people received them, including a neighbor of mine who has his own show now?
No, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was before the internet, so you had to get the info out somewhere.
He's one of the least agenty agents out there, if he is one. I know he had Q clearance. He believes he was pushed up in the security clearances because of his involvement with the youth Masons, the Demolay. But, obviously there's some things he says which I think are fed to him or is just part of the default conspiracy culture. But a lot of the things he says are so far out of bounds. It's almost like Alex Jones came in to do damage control for William Cooper.
Yeah, I it's hard to say if he was controlled, but they exited him in 2001, right after 9/11. So whatever happened, if you believe the story.
Which I don't. I don't. I think it's very convenient because they wanted to isolate anybody talking about that subject and get them within a certain framework. Alex Jones was the one who coined inside job. And prior to that, Cooper was calling him out as a shill. And so I find that to be very questionable. I don't know. Like I said, Cooper's the only one who's contradicting the space program. And Alex Jones is all like, there's a secret space program. It's more advanced, which to me is damage control, misdirection.
I'm going to ask the bot if it knows. Did Bill Cooper send out thousands of tapes to random addresses? Okay. Well, it says no, he didn't, but he did mail thousands of packets containing documents and information to random recipients worldwide. Well, so he did do it. It says no, he did. No, he did to rapidly publicize his conspiracy theories and protect himself from suppression. Oh, okay. So in 1992 on CNN, he said, I'd like to watch that actually. Cooper described spending $27,000, there's a nice number, within 24 hours to mail thick packets of sensitive information globally obtained from a public mailing list to ensure wide, unpredictable distribution. He viewed this as a perfect plan because authorities couldn't intercept it once dispersed. making him instantly public and harder to silence.
So he was going viral the analog way.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound to me like controlled opposition very much, because the controlled opposition tend to be supported by the infrastructure of media, so they're heard. They don't have to do this guerrilla marketing, these bizarre tactics. But I understand the method here. When I decided to start talking about this stuff, I went to a city council and I told them the space station was fake. And I did so knowing that this, it's like letting the genie out of the bottle. Okay, go ahead.
This is a 2-hour interview.
Yeah, you want to wipe your face or anything? No, you got it. Okay. You all right, Robert?
Mm-hmm. Robert, you set? Yes, I am. Scott, you're set?
Yes.
Bill, you ready?
Yep.
May 3rd, 1992, uncut. Have you ever seen this
Bill,
one?
well, thanks for
I have not seen this
agreeing
one.
to the interview. First of all,
Let me just bring it up on YouTube itself here.
a little
just
bit about your
see,
background. You had extensive military service for many years prior to 1970, where a certain aspect of that military service kicked up.
I'm sure this has been put up many times, but this was only a year ago that they put this version up. I'm pretty sure I've watched this, but I'll watch it again because I always thought he had tons of good info. Whether you think he was a good guy or a bad guy, I think he was a good guy personally.
Yeah, I think his info that I like most is the Freemasonic symbolism and subtext to the NASA missions.
Yeah.
And he's uncovered some fascinating things about, like the incineration of the 3 astronauts for Apollo 1.
Yeah.
All through the Challenger explosion. And I tend to agree with him. I think that the primary purpose of the space program is to create a new heaven that unites everyone. And they have this mythology that's going along with it as we progress into the space age. And I think that these missions are all just references to their occult gods. I think it's very esoteric.
Tommy said, I read Bill Cooper sent his family to live abroad 2 years before his apparent death. Okay. And Ali Bongo Magic Trick said, was Bill Cooper's supposed gun battle and death at the hands of state troopers just another psyop to convince the conspiracy crowd that his info was true and he needed shutting up? Yeah, I buy that. I buy that theory. Yeah, that's a good one. So I'll post this in tonight's show notes. Where are the show notes, you ask? Fakeologist.blog. It's working again. Fakeologist.com/blog. Make sure you head over there and check it out. I'm posting all the links as we speak live so you can follow along. So fakeologist.com. That's where you get the audio version of this show. You get the link to the FakeoTube version. And you get all the show notes, and you can leave comments. So we're a full service conspiracy, whatever you call it. And also, someone asked me the other day, how do they donate Satoshis? Well, here it is right here. If you just scan this, you will be able to send me a wallet, a Satoshi from. If you send it from your wallet, a Satoshi, which is a separate wallet, you can send it even faster, I believe. But you can. This is a real address. You just scan with your phone wallet there, and send it on through. And I'll put. I don't know why I didn't put the email address of my wallets, but I will do that as well for you. So there, you just point it at the screen right now. And if you want to send a Bitcoin fraction, you can use that too. So a Monero, I don't really use it, but I've never got a Monero in my life. But if you want to try it, let me know and I'll look to see if I can figure out where it goes. Actually, hold on. We got a caller in there, Tim.
Hold time 3 minutes 42 seconds.
Caller in there, where are you calling from? What's your name?
Hey, Fakeologist. Hey, Tim. It's Jay from Texas.
Jay, hello.
Hey, how are you doing, Tim OZman?
Hey, what's up, Jay from Texas?
Everything's no matter if it's the mainstream or alternative or what we talk about, everything's being, unraveled and unmasked. Like, because the mainstream narrative, even with this whole Iran thing and everything, like now the Middle East is like not looked at as a good investment thing, and that's the predictive programming from that Rollout movie about the dollar collapse.
What's it
And
called? Is that the Alex Jones thing?
no, it's like a movie called No, I don't know. It's a 1980s movie called Rollover or something like that. And
Wait, does Tim
there's a
Osman?
little.
Wait, does Tim Osman know about that?
I think we discussed it about it, the future programming and like how the dollar is going to collapse and like the Middle Eastern nations are going to withdraw all their investments from the U.S. stock market. And
Is that Rollover from 1981?
Yeah.
That's what's that about? It says okay.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like a drama or something like that. But there's this real interesting.
Oh,
like,
international
Wall Street.
finance, a bank crisis.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's crazy because the scenario, like, you can see it today in that thing, how they're like, Trump saying, "Oh, we got this under control and everything," but apparently, like how you're saying, this fake image, Tim, and the people who are the influencers who are in Dubai who invested a lot of money are trying to say nothing's going on over there, which is real interesting because that's what we say, right? But then the mainstream media is saying stuff is going on over there. So there's this like contradicting worlds.
Oh, I did see this movie. I watched it. It's Jane Fonda. Okay, yeah, we already talked about it. My brain doesn't work too good. Yeah. Okay.
It's an interesting predictive programming.
Chris
right,
Christopherson. I don't know. I can't remember now. Yeah, it's coming back to me now. Okay, I gotcha.
It's just pretty interesting how they just the dialogue and the way to discuss how like because they're talking about you have to let this fall gradually, and if you buy gold and the Arabs find out, then they're gonna pull all their investments out. So we have
that was about a woman. That was mainly about a woman's company, but yeah, I get you. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
Now, what do you think about Elon Musk's claim that in 10 years, none of us are going to have to work anymore?
Well, I think half the people aren't working already.
I mean, I think technology could free us, because the way I look at technology is it could free us from our needs and redundancy if it's given into the right, because like just like how the car freed the horse from the wagon and the light freed the fire from the room, and now they cut, I think if we can get the right people who I guess think like, because there's two types of thinking in this world, I believe. You got the abundance thinking and the scarcity thinking. Like I think you were talking about
that's the difference between the U.S. and the King of England. That's quite well discussed on Promethean Update on YouTube. I agree with that idea.
Yeah.
They think everything is running out, and American ideals are that everything needs expanding and there's abundant resources. Let me ask Tim Osman what he thinks of that. Does that have any relevance into your research?
Yeah, there is this abundance and scarcity thing, and the scarcity is connected to the collectivists. And
right, yeah.
And so what I think they've done here is they've created the perception that for every person who becomes rich, it necessitates so many poor. So it's a zero-sum game for that side of the faction. And I think the zero-sum game is part of their control system. Like, I don't think climate change actually as bad as they say. I think we need to unfetter the marketplace, deregulate, because I think the earth is anti-fragile. But they've convinced us that we're damaging it with our productivity. I mean, I even had someone try to guilt trip me about using AI. They said, do you know how much water you're wasting with every image you generate? And I'm like, what the hell? It's like, is there a carbon footprint for thinking?
And how can you waste water? Water recycles. Yeah. That one I never understood. How are you wasting water? Water is never consumed. It just changes phases.
The only way it could be wasted if they purposely destroy the ecosystem that it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like purposely.
No, I don't, because water is not destroyed. It's like energy. It's just transferred to some other form.
Well, it would be like, I guess, like mismanagement of stuff. I guess it would be like mismanagement, how they would just do like, I guess with the food, how they can give us good food, but they don't give us good food, and then they'll tell
Hey
you
Jay, Nate Watley wants to know, do you listen to IPS and his shows normally?
I listened to them a couple of times. They're real interesting because there are a lot of, like, I like them. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Penguin.
No, Nate was saying that you should listen to IPS. Maybe you don't listen to
Well, here's what I'd say, because we do a lot of these like long form, multi-hour live streams. But if you check out my new series, How History is Manufactured, I'm breaking down the broad concepts we work with daily so that you can have an introduction to IPS in a couple of hours, and then you've made the transition to off-world stage. And it's a one-way trip, because you will agree with what I'm saying.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% because we're seeing the same playbook that they did during the Great Depression. Because I don't know, you were talking about Hollywood and government. Well, you know that like the whole government and Disney, they came in during the Great Depression, and then like there was like you could watch a movie for like 5 cents, and it would go on for like hours, and it was just to distract people. And they used the same cartoons as propaganda during the World War II era. You know, so how much do you know about that? That's like a very interesting. Like I agree with you 100%. Like I agree with you 100%.
I've been looking back at the work of Edward Bernays, which most people here are familiar with, but before him, he didn't steal, but I guess many think he was more or less hijacking the work of Walter Lippmann, who was a more credible scholar. And Walter Lippmann wrote the fan, and he was.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Okay, there goes. There's a glitch there.
Yeah,
Walter Lippmann was convinced that democracy was being compromised by the fact that the media and government worked to put us into a state of what he called a sublimated civil war, what we call mind war. And he was suggesting that they could use essentially manufactured crises to gauge where the public was going and steer it with that, so that you could have changes in society without breaking anything.
Yeah.
Manufactured consent.
Okay, Jay, we got to go. We got more callers pouring in just before the line.
Thank you, Tim. Have a good one.
Thank you. Take care, Jay. Caller, where are you calling from? What's your name?
Brian in Washington.
Hi, Brian. Say hi to IPS, please.
Hi, Mr.
What's up, Brian in Washington? Thanks for calling.
So I'm sorry we missed Jay, because Jay had recommended that I look at a movie that's very timely, because you just mentioned Working for Free, and I believe that was the 2-hour title. He said, I don't know what Brian's problem is with communitarianism. Tim just mentioned collectivism, if you want to use that word.
Okay.
We'll work for free. 2 hours at the tail end. It's, mentioning the involvement of the Zeitgeist movement and a gentleman named Jacques Fresco, who was involved in the Venus Project. Yeah, these people are insisting, and Jay apparently, that we're going to sit around with nothing to do because the robots and all of the technology is going to take care of all of our problems. And, do you want to go play tennis today or go to the beach? That's going to be the world's population. So I'm countering all that with a 15-minute that I mentioned to you before, Omeletto. And
I saw that movie. I've seen it. I saw that before you mentioned it. That's a good one. Have you? Has Tim OZman seen that?
I have not, but you're kind of talking about how they've reintroduced like the workers' paradise of Marx. It's like this utopian idea that is likely not feasible or achievable.
Jacques Fresco, thinking we're all going to live in domes and little spaceships run around and give us our food. I don't know if we need food anymore, they think in this movie. But regardless, I am recommending the 15-minute Omeletto Utopia, because what we're talking about here is this technology is going to bite us in the ass. And nobody seems to be that concerned about it, except for a few that know this is indeed extremely concerning in reality. Do you want to have a data center in your backyard? Because there is the sonar exposure to listening to these things, in addition to, do you want to drink the water that comes out of them? And they don't have the energy, so Elon has to have these small little temporary generators on semis to make this continue at the breakneck speed that it is happening at.
Hold time 3 minutes 18 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
I'm opening up that for discussion, and I wish Jay would call back.
Well, this isn't the Jay show. This is Tim OZman's show. So maybe one day, Jim, we can.
What do you think about what Grimes said a few years ago, where she said that in the future they're going to use AI to remove systemic corruption from communism and no forced labor? Like she floated that idea a few years ago, and it's like they're selling the public on universal basic income or Nasara Gasara, some kind of total relief from work. And I think it's ridiculous, but Musk is pushing that, and he says money won't be relevant in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just wanting to remind people that Karl Marx said communism will take down the capitalist system, but it won't replace it. I'm simply saying every other word is the word community. It's going to save everything. And you try and say, I'm against community and technology, you are going to lose. Unfortunately, that would be the head of my banner if I felt there was a population out there that was informed about all this. But community is going to save everything with communitarianism. There's 3-4 people just mentioned it this week. So I think the cat's out of the bag. There's no reason to mums the word on communitarianism anymore because the final nails have been pounded in the solution that Karl Marx said. So that's my response to communism and this will work for free or according to your needs. We've been played, and I believe the final wheel has spun on us, and it's engaged time. The gear has engaged.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate your talk. And we got another caller. Thank you very much. And next caller, where are you calling from? What's your name?
I'm calling from the South Shore of the St. Lawrence Seaway. It's John the Beggar.
John, hello. Say hi to Tim if you want.
Hi, Tim. How you doing?
What's up, John the Beggar? Nice to hear from you.
Good. Last time you were on, was it you that were saying you were going to get some trading cards going?
Yes, the PSYOP trading cards, yes.
Okay, have you ever thought about a deck of cards and use PSYOPs in it, like have, instead of the various suits of diamonds, hearts, clubs, and spades, to have communists, fascists, liberals, conservatives?
Ooh, that's pretty good. The company that I'm getting my cards printed from do playing cards as well, and that's a pretty good breakdown of the 4 suits.
Yeah, that could do that, and you could have, instead of jokers are wild, you could have trannies are wild.
Okay. Now, okay, so communist would be what? Like clubs, and then fascist would be like the diamonds, and then liberal conservative.
Yeah, you can do it any way you want to break it down and have that, and have your various things and still play a game of cards. And you could have, like I said, trannies are wild rather than jokers.
I don't think Tim OZman is big on the tranny thing.
Well, well, it's not that I'm not big on it, but I think what they have done, which is really effective, is the right wing wasn't terrified of racist Nazi bullcut mass school shooters. So in 2022, they did a plot twist, and now all the shooters are leftist, Reddit radicalized, trans Satanists shooting up Christian children in schools. So I'm just saying there's this construct where they've created this new threat. I don't know if it relates to real life.
Well, I think it's a PSYOP really pushing all this. And you could, have like some of the jacks be gay, some of the queens be lesbians and stuff like that. And do a whole set of cards just like that. Just a thought. That's all.
No, I think you're onto something with the conservative, fascist, liberal, and what was the other one? Communist.
Communist, fascist, and then liberal, conservative, or Democrat, Republican. You could do it either way.
Okay, well, I might steal your ideas here. You know, I'm in the business of producing trading cards, so thank you for that.
Okay. Where is an email address or anything I can get in touch with you by?
A good one is infiniteplanesociety@gmail.
Infinite. Come on, Infinite. That's easy. You learned that in school.
Planesociety.com.
At gmail.com.
Oh,
yeah.
At Gmail.
Yeah. Do you have a computer? You can go to a website, can't you? John?
Yeah, I can go to a website.
IPS.monster is his central hub. That's where everything emanates from.
You know what? I'll put a link on ips.monster for people who want to email me or just comment.
Yeah, maybe you don't have an email link there. You got everything else. Buy me a coffee, buy me a PayPal.
Because I think there's a built-in email with Substack. Like you could go infiniteplanesociety@substack.com. I think that works, but I'll put a link there. I'll update the site.
Yeah, there's some people that still use email. Yeah, Thruster Star is asking you use Gmail.
Yes. Well, you know, I had someone ask me, what browser do you use?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to say Google because I knew what they were angling at.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Safari, which is a lie. But I mean, yeah I use Gmail. I use the most reviled company's search engine. I use Google. I use Gmail. Yeah. I use a lot of things. Doesn't matter. But I understand. I mean, look, they're going to make you scan your face to get onto Discord very soon.
Well, actually, I agree. Well, since you're a regular here, I'll just I'll put IPS at fakeologist.com and forward it to you if you want.
You know what? That'd be great. IPS at Fakeologist.
And yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Just since you're now a regular guest, and I'll just you give me the email you want it to go to, and I'll bounce it.
Perfect. Yeah, well, you know, now's a good time, I think, because I want to start making an effort to expand what we're doing. That's why I'm doing this series of videos, How History is Faked. I want to condense the big ideas so that people who are arriving aren't intimidated by 3-hour live streams where nothing's really explained because we're not trying to catch people up.
Yeah. Let me just get that email again because I have quite a few. You used to have infiniteplanesociety.com. Is that dead?
No, I still have it. It goes right to my Substack.
So Tim OZman.com. Sorry, Tim OZman at infiniteplanesociety.com. Is that good?
Yeah, that'll work as well. Anything at infiniteplanesociety.com will actually get to me.
Okay. That's what I'll use, John the Beggar.
Okay.
I will get that. That'll be easy for you. Because what I've doing, all my guests will just have a simple forwarding service. And that way everyone can just easily email them. They just know they're
okay, but Tim OZman, you don't look into trannies at all.
Look, I don't think the investigators, I don't think it's accurate. Like, I don't think it's true because it's not a falsifiable theory. Like, I don't even think Bridget McCrone is a guy. Like, Candace Owens is getting sued over. So, no, I think it's a non-issue. It's a culture war thing. And it's probably because the Republicans have accepted, like, gay marriage. And so they need a new, essentially, scapegoat, or they need some fringe in order to isolate. So I think it's all just political group. What do you call it? Identity politics.
Okay.
And I think it's peculiar that they've made the mass shooter, this new like archetype of a mass shooter, this new villain, is the radicalized trans Satanist. Because it's like, what percentage of the population are we actually talking about here? And it makes it all the more likely we're
very little.
We're dealing with constructs. I don't think these are real. Like even the shooter at the Annunciation School, totally manufactured, basically paralleling the movie Weapons. And I think they had to create a villain that would frighten the conservative far right. It has to be the ones who are falling for satanic panic. This actually scares them.
I agree with that. I think that's pretty spot on with that.
Okay, well, thank you for calling, John the Baker. We're at the hour mark, and unfortunately, we're going to have to
Okay.
wrap her up.
Okay, with that, I'll wish you both, you gentlemen, a good night.
Thank you, John. And let's get that phone fixed. That's the 15th request to fix the phone. But that's all right. We got most of that audio tonight. Capture the Loop says tranny stuff is so overblown. It's essentially capitalism creating new markets. Watch Century of the Self.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They create market groups all the time, and you can see it on with like micro targeting, where it's like if you're 38 years old and you're 2 times divorced, listen to this advice, and it's like it's so specific. I'm like, okay, this is just capitalism running amok over social media and propaganda, and it's all about target marketing the psyops down to the level of the individual.
All right. Okay, well, that was a good session tonight. We covered quite a few things. Make sure everyone goes to ips.monster. Make sure everyone supports independent media. IPS is here every week and brings a lot to the table. We all enjoy it. And he now has a forwarding email, ips@fakeologist.com, and that'll just go to wherever he wants. And you won't have to remember a long URL because everything is IPS, or everything is at fakeologist.com. All our regular guests, we will forward the email for them. That doesn't mean we can read it. It'll just bounce. So it doesn't even hit my server, and I don't even have to pay for the storage because I don't have any of it. So there you go.
Thanks for having me on, and I will be live later tonight for anybody who subscribed to me.
All right.
I'm uploading part 3 of my history of, well, rather, how history is manufactured series.
Will they be able to call in?
Yes, it will be call in. Discord in will also be open as well.
Okay, so that'll be on your YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, and you can get the link at ips.monster.
Correct. Get in the Discord, jump in voice chat, and you will be able to get onto the live streams. All right, we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Chat.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for calling in. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Don't forget fakeologist.com/donate. Support independent media, and I'll just shout out because we did get a donation. I think, let's make sure it's not anonymous because I don't name you if you're anonymous, you see. And let's see, did I get something today? I know I got something from, I think, from Ireland, $5. If I could find it here. I don't think I have the thing set up properly. Hold on, let me find it. Well, Kim K donated $10. He's a regular. He or she is a regular. So thank you, Kim. And also, Rosemary. She's not anonymous. She says, hello from Ireland. I watch you on FakeOTube. Absolutely love your show. Keep up the good work, Rosemary. So thank you so much, Rosemary. I don't give out last names. You don't have to worry about that. And also another one from Veronica. She donated $3.56 at fakeologist.com/donate. And I think she is a returning donor, even though it says new donor. I think she's donated. I recognize the name. Thank you, all the women. And of course, Rachel donated $33. So, thank you so much for donating. Value for value. I don't call it a donation. It's a value for value. You're getting value out of the show. I'm providing it. I'm burning up bits and bytes on the internet, pulling out my hair, trying to get to the everything online and working. So, and so is Tim OZman, of course. So, thank you for everyone for contributing. And we will be here tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Fake Nukes Phil and Jim Rizzoli. And Jim Rizzoli is getting a lot of grief on Cloverfield's BitChute channel. Oh boy. He thinks that is a revisionist operation. If you want to check that out, go to Cloverfield on BitChute. I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying it's happening, and that's possible, but unlikely. Anyway, thanks to the whole Infinite Plane crew for showing up. I don't know what the count is because the count isn't showing on my screen today, but I know there are quite a few out there. So thanks for joining in. And do me a favor, go to just search Fakeologist 3 on YouTube. Can you subscribe over there? Because I can't have monetization until I get to 1,000 people. So I'm in the 700 or 800s. So if you could go to Fakeologist 3 on YouTube and just subscribe, just go there. I'll put it in the chat. Go to Fakeologist 3 on YouTube and subscribe, because I need to get over 1,000 so I can get some thanks and some joins like Tim OZman has. I need all that. So go over there and press thumbs up and subscribe. It shouldn't be too hard. We've only been on YouTube and other platforms for 14 years, and we can't get to 1,000. Are we that bad? I'm doing this show every day now. You'd think I get a few extra. You think I could get to 1,000, or maybe it's that bad. I don't know. All right, guys, take care. Over and out. We'll see you tomorrow.